Welcome to the Monsignor McCormick Missionary Team Mission Group. We're having a round table today in order to discuss kind of what went on during our time in Jamaica. And so just to give you a little background, we remember 9/11. It's where it all started, and we had a program at St. Mary Queen of Apostles where we asked individuals to take some time to give back. So $100 went out to 10 families, and they were asked to go out and use that money in order to give back to the community or to different communities. And so in 2003, the missionary team began with Lisa Newsom and her husband and a small group of people from St. Mary Queen of Apostles Parish. Lisa, can you tell me what you first did and how you got started?
So the way we got started was, as you said, at the memorial mass for the 9/11 tragedy. We were one of the families chosen for the $100 challenge. And briefly before that, a few months before that, we had a visiting priest in our parish who came to do an appeal for the Diocese of Mandeville, Jamaica. And I was very, very moved by his appeal, and I told my husband at that time, if I ever had the opportunity to do mission work, I really wanted to work with him. And so shortly after that, when you offered us the challenge, we got in touch with him. His name is Father Gary Weissman, and we got in touch with him and asked him to let us know if there was something we could do for their diocese. Then we were given some choices of projects that were on the top of their needy list. We chose our project. It was rebuilding a kitchen in an orphanage that gets flooded every year, and the kids had to be moved to a different location. The location they were being moved to was not equipped with kitchen facilities that could handle the kids. So they were having to bring all their food in. It was very difficult. So once we decided that was what we wanted to do, we took our $100 and we started raising money. And we did pretty much anything we could think of that we thought people would appreciate. So we did barbecues and burrito sales, and if it was legal, we were willing to do it. It was pretty much that. And then during that time while we were raising the money, I began to feel that I was really being asked to do more than just raise the money and then send it over to Jamaica. So I ended up hearing that I should gather some people and become seriously hands-on involved, take the money there ourselves, and actually help with the project hands-on. And at that point in time, I kind of thought it was a crazy idea, and so I came to you, and I said, this is what I'm hearing, and to my surprise, your answer was very short, and what you said was, count me in. And that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. And so one of the things that we did do was to build homes, and this year Norma went to work on 2 homes that we were building there in Jamaica. And so Norma, can you describe a little bit about what you were doing and how those homes ended up looking?
Yes, Father. Well, first of all, I recall that the first thing we did one evening, pretty late after it had rained, is we went with the truck to unload the materials at the job site. And that was where there was no electricity. We were with flashlights and going up some very narrow pathway to deliver these materials very late at night. So the following morning, they were there at the job site. We gathered the team, we got there, and we obviously had to follow the direction of the team that's there. It's about composed of 4 gentlemen that do these constructions year after year, I understand, for the mission. And they just said, grab a hammer, grab some nails, and they told us where. The first few times, they pointed us to where the nails should go. We started building these walls. These are already prefabricated pieces, so they know exactly how to build each wall, where the windows will go, where the doors will go. And in half a day's time, we had the walls up, and And the home, the first one we did, and these are basically 2 or 3 room homes with a veranda. And the people who get selected to get these homes already have the foundation, so we're just involved in erecting walls and putting the roof over them, and the last part of it is painting these homes.
Mano, you were part of the team that went into Jamaica to work on the houses. So tell us a little bit about what you did. Did you have a hammer in your hand, or did you have a paintbrush in your hand?
Well, I was doing both. So first, we were hammering. We were doing the walls first, and then we built them on wooden foundation that's on top of the stone foundation. And then after we put up the walls and we did the veranda and all the wood stuff, we started painting.
What color was the paint?
So the 2 colors of the paint were pink and gray. And at the 2 job sites we did, the primary was either pink or gray, and the secondary was pink or gray. So they alternated at the 2 job sites.
It's interesting for you to note that the paint comes in about a 500-gallon container. We don't know what colors are in the containers. So the people who are going to get the house and those of us who were painting the homes were surprised to see what color the house was going to be. So for all of us working on the homes, it was quite an affair. One of the other things that we did do there was to build a chapel for the sisters who are part of, believe it or not, Holy Spirit Parish. And they are nurses, and some are teachers, and they do all sorts of things. Well, what was it like to build the chapel, Lisa? I know you were there. I was part of that group, too. I just wanted to know, though, how do they make cement in Jamaica?
Oh, I know that you remember, but I'm going to go ahead and share. There is no such thing as a cement mixer in Jamaica unless you mean us. Because the cement, you get the cement in the bags the same way that you buy it here in America, but you dump it out on the ground, and then you haul buckets of water from the faucet, which could be where you are building. It may also be up to a mile down the road. And you have to take your buckets back and forth, and then you add the water to the cement and or the marl, and then you just stir it until it's the right consistency, and then you haul it by buckets or shovels full to where you need it. So when you're building an entire building, the mixing of cement really becomes quite an ordeal over days or weeks or months.
In fact, I was so tired that I sat in a chair and fell asleep after mixing cement for at least about an hour.
Oh, yes.
Your arms get sore, your back gets sore. And then one of the interesting things that I thought was unique was those who were putting the cement on the walls threw it on the walls.
Right.
And then they spread it over the walls.
Yeah.
And then when they made the floor had cement put on, and then they took a huge, long 2x4 and went slowly across to even it all out. I said, nothing like I've ever seen here in the United States.
Because here we have so many different materials to use. You wouldn't use the one material to do everything. But there, because they have just the one material, they mix it differently depending on what they're doing with it. So the consistency of the cement that is the floor or the outside of the walls is a different consistency than what they spread on the floor or what they throw onto the walls to be the finishing of the walls.
And there's other events that happen in Jamaica. One of them happens to be a medical center. And Chris was at the medical center. And Chris, tell us kind of who are the people who will be working at a medical center?
Yeah, it's an amazing place. The nuns that run it are tireless. We understand that they see upwards of 100+ people a day from almost every medical situation that you can imagine. And they're all from generally that area, but that area might serve, 3 hours plus away, Lisa? Right. So it's quite a distance that they travel in many cases. And the clinic is really amazing. Not only are they doing basic health kinds of services, they have a physical therapy clinic there. They have full prescription drugs that they're capable of doing. There's an ultrasound machine there. They have other lab equipment there that they're able to use. There's a dentist clinic that's there. So the services that are offered, not only by the nuns, but by visiting volunteers, can be very extensive. And as Lisa said at one point in time, there's pretty much nothing that they can't handle unless it truly is a life-threatening emergency. And we're really looking forward to taking a group back, nursing students, to do a number of different programs, hopefully in January of this year.
And they're all from Fresno State?
All from Fresno State. It'll be a class. It's not going to be a mission trip like is normally done, but we're going to have students that are going as part of a class, International Service Learning class. And that class is going to be led by Dr. Kathleen Rendall, who is a faculty member in nursing. And we hope to take students from nursing, physical therapy, audiology, and maybe some construction management students, some ag students to work on the farm that's there at Holy Spirit, anybody who wants to go.
It is interesting because I also heard that they'll be getting units from the university for going and participating. Yeah,
we have a course that is actually all about multicultural, international learning, and so there'll be readings beforehand that we'll be doing what's called reflection sessions every day while we're there, and we'll be learning an awful lot from Lisa and Father Merrick and Marta and the nuns about the culture of Jamaica and about delivering medical services in a situation like that.
That's going to be very, very interesting, and it'll be nice to hear from the students that go there in this year.
Yep.
Will be January 2020.
Correct. That's the plan.
Great.
Yeah.
And Nate, you were involved a lot in going to visit the bush. So can you explain a little bit about what the bush is and who did you go to visit and possibly why?
Sure. I've been involved with the group since 2005. So we would go out, and it's always, the father has certain families or people picked out in his mind that he wants us to go and touch bases with and visit. So we'll actually pack on our luggage before we go, dry food, peanut butter, tuna, crackers, stuff like that. We get it all together. We take a care package out to the families, clothes even, towels. And we get to go and see how they live. And compared to what we have here, it's pretty rural. Is a way to say it. Nobody has electricity. There's no running water. There's no plumbing. But when we get to their house, they're open arms, smiles. Everybody's, welcome. Jah love, peace. Come in. Let me share with you. They chop up fresh fruit. They show us how they live. They bring us in. And we sit there, and for that time, we're part of their family. We're all one together. We'll share our stories with each other, and we'll see. One man that we got to meet quite a few times was Mr. Vernal Richards. And he actually farmed about 1.5 acres on the side of a cliff. But the thing that was unique about him was he had no legs. From the torso down was amputated, so he was all with his hands. So every year we made sure to bring him extra sturdy gloves, and he had a machete with him all the time, just chopping stuff up. And as soon as we pulled up, he'd, hey, welcome, come in. So they're always open arms, they're happy, and no matter the circumstances that they have, they're over the moon. They're ecstatic. They're happy. They're peaceful. They know God's love shelters them every day. So it's a blessing to be a part of that and see that.
I note that you and also Elisa were involved in going to some of the homes that you even had built in the past, and note that they were destroyed because of typhoons.
Yeah,
hurricanes. Mm-hmm. And if you kind of explained, I know one time I was there, they kind of showed me how the hurricane would come up the valley and into the mountain. And could you describe some of the homes, what they might look like and what you had to do to assist them in redoing those homes to make them livable again?
So one of the first times that we redid a home, it was actually the home we had built the year before.
Wow.
And we built a home for a family up on a cliff in the bush, which is kind of like the outback. It's, all rainforest there. And so when we refer to the bush, we're talking about way out in the jungle. There's very few roads, nothing is paved. You normally drive as far as you can, and then you have to walk. And so a lot of the homes that we build there, you literally carry all of the supplies. It's very difficult to get to, and they're very, very deserving and needing families. So one year we built this family a home up on the top of a hill, and the next year when we went back, the home had been about 75% destroyed by the hurricane you referred to. And they lived on a cliff, and there was a huge valley that in front of their house that led over to the other side of the mountains. And the hurricane just blew through there, came right up in through that valley, and just ripped their house right off the hinges. So when we were there the following year, and in subsequent years with many other homes that we've helped with, you're missing walls, you're missing roofs, you're missing flooring, because the wind is so strong that after it takes the wall or the roof off the house, it literally sucks the marl, the dirt, the rock that is their flooring, it just sucks it all out with it. So we have replaced walls, doors, ceilings, framing, windows, flooring, all kinds of things. Anything that they need to get their home back to a livable type of situation. So we do a lot of that. We try to do as much as we can every year at different locations.
Mano, you were involved in Legos. First of all, had many of the students seen Legos before?
Actually, the students, most of them have not seen Legos before. I'm not sure if all of them haven't, but I know most of them haven't. And they were very surprised when they saw it, and they're all like, what do these do, and how do you connect these? Then we gave them little Lego sets, and they would follow the instructions to put it together and create like little cars or houses. And then the robotics table with the laptop and the coding, it would have like this Lego that's battery powered, and whatever you code on the laptop, it would do. Like if you say for it to turn right, it would turn right, but you have to do specific coding so that it can go to wherever it needs to go.
So there was a high school student along with us who assisted in that project because it was a school project for him here in Fresno. Is that true?
Yes. His name is Brian, and he came and did all the robotics. He taught everyone how to code. He brought all the Legos.
So in the process then, did any of the students want to take those Legos back home?
Yes, a few of them wanted to take the Legos back home. So
I'm sure that for them, that was really quite an experience. There's been other times in education that they've been involved with students and teachers, for instance, somehow in education. Chris, did you do any education when you were there?
We did go out to the schools. They had a big shipment that came in of just different school supplies and toys and games and other kinds of appropriate items for the schools. And I think we made about 3 loads in the van, taking out some of these supplies. And our students that went as part of the mission trip got to see what those schools were like and the settings. And then we worked a little bit with the kids in the after-school program as well. And, the need is there. And, Nate said it. It's a very different environment than what we're used to. And they live in a situation where even a pencil is an extraordinary thing to have.
Wow.
And so, when you bring a whole van load of different materials to the school, it's Christmas, and New Year's and birthdays all rolled into one plus.
Well, I know that Lisa's involved in another part of the year with education, with testing, things of that nature. Somehow I heard when I was there that students have to pay for final exams. Is that true?
It is true. In Jamaica, they have public education. They consider it free education. But the problem is that their schools all have a very long list of requirements that need money. The children all wear uniforms, even though they're public schools. They all wear uniforms. They require hard leather shoes. And all of the grades, beginning in basic school, which is the same as our kindergarten, they have to purchase all of their books and supplies. So the parents of the children going to school have to go to a bookstore, much like the one at Fresno City or Fresno State, and purchase for every one of the children every book that they will use in each year of school. And the prices are like going to a regular bookstore here in the U.S., which is out of reach of most of the people I have ever been in contact with in Jamaica. And because of that, a very high percentage of those children never go to school. They just don't go. Their parents do not have the means to send the children to school based on the requirements, like the testing. If they go to school, in order for them to graduate from or to move from one level of class to the next, they have to take a test and make sure they can pass to the next grade, but their parents must pay for them to take that test.
There's also no bus system, so they either have
Correct.
to walk
There is no
or
public
pay for a taxi to and from school just to attend every day, which is pretty costly.
And they don't all attend a local school, like here in the U.S., where whatever school you're closest to, that's the school you go to. That's not how they work there. Your child takes these tests, and by their tests, they get put into a school that could be a mile away, or it could be 20 miles away.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
and even the local schools, if I'm not mistaken, can sometimes be miles
Absolutely.
away. And truly,
They
uphill,
oh, yeah.
downhill,
They
down the dirt
absolutely can
road,
be.
through the rain.
The kids normally, you'll see them walking. The ones who walk to school will be carrying their shoes in their hand because they can't wear their school shoes back and forth to school or they'll ruin them. So they carry them.
I know that there was a couple of times when you've talked here in our parish that you were wonderfully surprised and wanted to really congratulate some students that you've known from Jamaica who went on to college.
Yeah, our education program is a huge part of what Monsignor McCormick's Jamaica Mission Team does. We're super proud of it. We've been involved with it for about 15 years now. And our program helps to send about 220 to 250 students to school every year who, without our program, would never have the means to attend school. And this year, in the 2018-19 school year, we started a higher education program because 9 of our students who have passed through our program are all now attending college. Regular accredited colleges in subjects like architecture and teaching degrees and mathematics. It's amazing. It's just simply amazing. And, you know, a lot of us have known these kids since they entered our program.
5 years old.
At 7, 6, 5, 8, 9 years old. And they've come all the way through the program.
And that's the way to permanently change their lives for the
Exactly.
better.
Absolutely.
You're right. It's not just building them a house that they might live in for a few years, or providing them some food, that's the immediate needs that are there, no doubt. But that's
And those
changing
students,
lives, changing communities.
Those students who are now attending college, they are the ones who come back and teach our summer school program there. For the week before we do the testing for the education program, we have a week of summer school. And those college students and kids who have been through the program, they're the ones who come back and teach our summer school program to the new kids in the program.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, it's
Tremendous.
fantastic.
It is.
Norma, what interested me this year was that you were quite involved in maintenance of Holy Spirit Parish Church. Can you explain some of the maintenance work that you were doing in that parish community?
Yes, Father. Well, there was, because of the weather, the rain, the heat, apparently every so many years, the paint just starts peeling off of the different buildings. So this year we were involved with scraping off part of the peeling paint, the paint that was peeling off from the church, and repainting it. We also repainted several bathrooms that are next to the church, and a little storage area that the Father has there. We also did some work in some other public bathrooms that are near the kitchen. So basically we were involved with painting this year. That was our major. I know Nate also did putting some screen doors for those mosquitoes, right, Nate?
Yeah, we hung 8 big metal screen doors around all the entrances to the dorm rooms and the facilities. But the buildings there aren't really architected out with a slide
Like
ruler.
even?
Right. So,
Or square?
so the first door was about 3 inches too wide. The second door was about 2 inches too narrow. So you got to adapt, and there's not a Home Depot at the corner. So it
And
took.
the walls are solid cement.
Yeah.
All the walls are solid cement.
So with the good work of a a good friend of mine, we figured it out after a couple of days. We had them all hung, and we were grinding cement bricks and adding wood, and it was a chore, but we got it done. So, and Father was super thankful by the time we left, and he was sending emails and texts how happy they were for the festival that was the next week. Everybody was complimenting on them. So, and it saves your skin from the mosquitoes because they're relentless. Oh man,
how true!
They'll eat you
and
alive.
Maybe you can explain a little bit about the water situation there, because it's actually different in every place we've ever been in. And so I know there at the parish, the water system is not the greatest. I remember looking up at the hot water cistern, and there's not a lot of space there.
Well, as it rains, the water collects in what they call a cistern, which is a big plastic container, black. So the heat from the sun, which there's plenty of all day, every day, heats it up for your showers. There's also city water, but it's a little unreliable. If they decide not to come to work, or if there's an issue, it may not work that day.
Or that week.
Right. It's been out for a week at a time, so we'll go and dig in the dirt and build houses and paint and come home a different color and try to wash it off, and there's no water. So you're waiting either till it rains or till they get it back together. And then other times we'll be building houses and there's no running water. We have to walk down the hill with 5-gallon buckets, maybe half to 3/4 of a mile just through the bush to one faucet that's just in the middle of nowhere and fill our buckets up. And
I know one of the interesting things I found going there is the fact that the homes we build specifically are for sleeping and keeping out of the weather. But most of the time people are outside.
Yeah.
There are no restrooms in the homes. There's no cooking facility in the homes. Almost all the cooking is done in the outside. Lisa, as we end the show, what would you like to say to the people viewing today?
So I would like to invite you all to come and join us, first of all, as a member of the mission team. We have mission teams who go to Jamaica. We also have teams here in the U.S. that help us with all of our fundraising and prayer groups. There's something for everybody who wishes to be involved. Right now, we're raising money for the trip in August and September to implement our education group. So if you're willing to help us, please take a look at the information on the screen, and it'll tell you how to get in touch with us for more information or to help make donations.
Thanks very much for joining us today. Bye-bye.